Maybe you've heard of a corporate veil, maybe you haven't heard of a corporate veil, but if you're a business owner, if you have a corporation or an LLC, the reason you formed that corporation or LLC in the first place was to separate you, the shareholder, the owner, from the business and its activities and its liabilities. There are about 22.5 million individuals in the United States who claim to be self-employed or a business owner. There are about that many business entities. You may be one person, but have 2 or 3 business entities. But the reason you have more than one LLC, more than one corporation, is so you separate, this apartment complex from this going concern business, from this stock portfolio, crypto portfolio. You're kind of not keeping all your eggs in one basket. You're forming corporations or LLCs. You're dropping assets into those. If that sounds like you, then welcome to the party. That's what most business owners are doing. But why are you putting them in different buckets? Why are they not all in your name? Why are they not just in your bank account? Why go to all the trouble of forming the corporation or LLC when, you could just easily do it by yourself? The reason, I think we'll all agree, the reason you do it is to reduce the risk of losing your stuff. And as you are building up your empire, you're creating your wealth. What we want to do is ensure that the money you're spending, like with the state every year to renew that company, that you're actually getting some benefit. See, here's the deal. Forming an entity with your state and then subsequently paying your annual fees and turning in your annual report and so on, that doesn't really give you much, if any, asset protection. Arguably, it doesn't give you any tax benefits either, at least not if you're ever examined, like in an audit. So we form these companies, and then there's work that needs to be done around the business in order for it to give you the benefit you believed you wanted when you set it up. It gives you separation, it gives you the deductions, it gives you the asset protection. In other words, the company ship can sink, but you don't have to go down with the ship. That's the whole reason for doing it. The corporate veil is the legal term that says you and the project, the company, are not the same thing. And the corporate veil is created by doing something called corporate formalities. The formalities include several things. One is issuing stock. If you own a corporation or LLC, even if you're the only owner and you're only a one-person business, you need to issue stock, or if it's an LLC, membership certificates. That proves that the company has issued you shares in exchange for some value, and that demonstrates even further that you and the company are separate. So you got to issue shares. Then you need to go through the regular board of directors process. The shareholders get together and elect a board. The board, which may only be one person, and it may be the same person who's the owner and the president. So it's you. But the board has a unique role. The board sets the direction of the company. The board decides, should we get a car allowance? Should the company reimburse for travel expenses? We're going to put our one employee onto salary. We're going to hire a CPA. We're going to switch CPAs. We're going to change the owner's or the president's salary. We're going to keep petty cash in the drawer. There's thousands of business decisions that are supposed to be memorialized in a board resolution that goes in your corporate minute book. Speaking of that, when you have these board meetings, you need to keep minutes. Minutes are simply who was there, when you got together, so what the date was, and what was discussed. Now, people regularly say to me, but Aaron, it's just me. Like, that's so stupid. Why would I have a meeting with myself to make decisions about my business, that it's all my money that I've put in, it's all mine. If you're thinking mine, you are all of a sudden piercing your own corporate veil. What we want to do is demonstrate separation. The documents are the only thing that clearly demonstrates the separation between you, the shareholder, and the entity. You're going to issue stock. You're going to hold regular board meetings. At the beginning, maybe monthly, and over time, maybe quarterly. At the board meeting, you're going to write down in the form of minutes, on this day at this place, these people or this person that constituted the entire board, and the board talked about this stuff. Should we sign the lease? Should we borrow the money? Should we loan the money? Should we? Those are the minutes. And then, okay, now we decided what we're going to do. We're resolved to do this thing. We're going to pay the leader of the company, the president of the company, or the manager of the LLC a salary. We're going to provide a cell phone. We're going to pay for medical insurance. We are resolved to provide a car allowance. We're resolved to cover travel expenses. We're resolved to do whatever. You may think that you can just do this. And oh, by the way, I've been doing this for 3 years, 5 years, 20 years, and nobody's ever asked me about this. Folks, let me be really clear. The problem happens when you get asked. So if you've been subpoenaed before, if you've had to go in to be deposed in a legal action, if you are being audited by your state or by the IRS, if you want to become a contractor to the government, they want 3 years of minutes and resolutions. If you were applying for many of the COVID-related government benefits that went to entities, you had to demonstrate that you had minutes and resolutions and were a properly functioning company. If you're going through a partnership divorce or a marriage divorce, your company will almost certainly come into the discussion. And certainly if it's a business divorce. If so, the judge, if it's not fully cooperative, the judge, when they look at the two of you saying, or the group of you saying, well, this is what happened. No, this is what happened. Well, that's mine. No, that was paid in capital. No, it was a loan. When all that stuff happens, the judge just says, where's it written down? And the place it needs to be written down is in your corporate minute book in the form of minutes. Here's what we discussed. Resolutions. Here's what we decided. We did issue stock. We did follow the corporate formalities. We do have a firmly intact corporate veil. And when you have a firmly intact corporate veil, if your company is attacked and maybe you lose a judgment or something, that doesn't bleed over into your personal home, residence, savings, collectibles, or whatever. If you have a problem at home, let's say your teenage driver rear ends somebody and they sue for not only the insurance, but also they understand you own a business, so they come after the business. If the corporate veil is intact, then the things from your personal life will not bleed over into your business. This is why the corporate veil matters. It is the fundamental requirement or litmus test for should you get legal protection as an entity. Should you get to take corporate deductions as an entity, or is this corporation or LLC that has never done any of these things, is it just the alter ego of the business owner? The question you need to ask yourself is, have you been holding regular board meetings, at least quarterly, where you kept minutes, kept resolutions, or wrote down resolutions, you issued stock, and so on? If so, then you're in good shape. If not, then you run the risk of losing everything you've built over something that could be incredibly frivolous. Whereas you can protect everything you've accumulated and built by just following these simple, basic legal obligations and ensuring that your corporate veil is rock solid. So that's the message for today. Thanks for being here. Thanks for joining the podcast. If you've never been here before, I welcome you. If you're a returner, then I'm so glad you're back. Until next time, this is Aaron Young for Magnify Your Wealth, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.